Okay, here we go. So welcome everyone. Our February full CWG meeting. We are recording this and there is transcription. So actually, now that I think about this, so Amy June, with Zoom, will the video have the transcription at the bottom as well?
No, it's a file that will get downloaded separately.
So then I can upload that to YouTube separately somehow? Okay.
Yep.
I have something to do this afternoon then. Fantastic. All right, well, let's, again, I rotated the order of the topics. So we'll start off with membership. So we, by we, the conflict resolution team, so Jordana and Alex and myself have been hard at work. We have 5 candidates for the position or positions. We've interviewed everyone. We sent out a short questionnaire. We kind of put the cart before the horse. But that being said, we have short questionnaires out, and I think we've heard back from just about everybody. We're considering adding at least 2 team members, and hopefully we will have some sort of idea what that's going to look like after our meeting this Thursday. So there's a process there because conflict resolution team members have to be approved by our review panel. So it's not like an instantaneous thing, but we feel pretty good about our plan moving forward. So that being said, we really no other movement on other roles, and also no real fires anywhere. Okay, ambassadors. So George, you want to talk about COC update stuff?
Yeah, my update is that I have no update this month. Just to remind folks who were here last time, we kind of put the process on hold, and I've been thinking about it over the last few weeks. And I think the best approach at this point will be to I think I'd like to just go ahead and just draft something in a Google Doc, and then share it with sort of the smaller subset of this group who's been involved in the conversation so far, get review and comments there, then share it with this group, and then beyond that, so I'm going to make a goal of having something we could share with the community as early as DrupalCon, which is in April, I believe. That would be awesome. But that depends on a variety of factors, not the least of which is my own availability, and the extent to which I am doing conferences about code of conduct stuff. So yep, that's my update.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Rachel is not here, correct? So George, other George Mathis, anything we need to talk about with the roles, the documenting our roles?
Yeah, no, there's no update here.
Okay.
Nothing's moved.
Is there some? I mean, is there a reason to keep this as a task? I'm just wondering.
I'm not sure. I'm prone to say no, but don't want to commit to that without Rachel's input. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. And yeah. So what I'll do. Actually, can you do this? Can you ping Rachel, George? Not right now, but at some point, and just ask her. Ask Rachel what what, if anything, can be done from a CWG perspective as far as documenting our roles and what's needed or what's desired.
Okay.
That way we know if we have action items or not. Thank you. Jordana, you want to talk about the other open source community stuff?
Sure. We had a meeting which was a little bit short notice because I messed up dates in my head. I'm actually getting ready to send out the new doodle today for next month. Whoever also wants to be added to that, please let me know. And I'll add you to either the doodle or CC the meeting, and I'll also add the meeting in our full CWG channel, just so that everybody's aware of it as well. We want to make sure, however, that it's a little bit equally represented. So if there are a lot of Drupal people in there, I will be shutting up. I want to have other people to be able to talk, and that it's not overly Drupal represented, because otherwise it can sound like a Drupal centric something, which is not necessarily what we want.
I was
But-
actually thinking
Mhm.
you should be there and maybe one other Drupal person, and maybe we rotate it.
I'm wondering too if I can be included until we get another WordPress person in there, because I'm in the WordPress community on a little bit higher level.
No, that makes absolute sense, and I think we can discuss this a little bit and tweak it as we go. We did discuss this in our meeting recently, in the last meeting, that we want to make sure it's not seen as a Drupal thing, that it's not owned by anybody in the Drupal community necessarily. So by all means, any feedback, any ideas are absolutely welcome, and Imogen, that absolutely works. So that's why we wanted to make sure that the times kind of work. So I know you're a little bit flexible with that, but then I'll definitely make sure you're on the doodle, so that you can add your available times in there.
Thank you.
And then Jordan, just, I don't know if you saw this, but just so we have it in these minutes, if you can just make a list of, I don't think we want to put people's names in here without their permission, but just the communities that were represented in our February meeting. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yep, I'll add it in now.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All right,
you.
anything else with that topic?
I had a little update on that topic, which was that I was at FOSS Backstage last week, which I don't know if anyone else was there, but it's a conference that's devoted to sort of the governance of open source projects. And so I spoke with a couple of folks there, talking about what was going on. And so I have some interest from folks who might want to attend. I won't share their names on this recorded recording, but Jordan, I'm happy to follow up with you. And I mean, I think basically I just need to reach out to a couple people and share that doodle link. But my advice would be to make sure that we are able to accommodate. I know it's very difficult to accommodate people on both the West Coast and in Europe, but we definitely have some interest from folks on the European side as well as folks on the West Coast. So yeah.
Fantastic. Good. All right, thanks, George, for doing that. Hello, April, how are you? Let's talk about community event support.
Good. All right, so I've been really focused on getting people who have completed the course on the various places, giving them credit, getting them on the list. I also copied a lot of the information that I added to the blog post to that page that has the list of people who've completed it, and kind of organized it with headings and put some jump links at the top of the page, because I think Neil wanted to link to that page when the code of conduct contacts are listed for events, so that people know where to get training, and there's kind of like a tie between training and events. So that should have more information now. And I think the upcoming dates are updated. I added in the April dates and put different timing for the UTC time. And there's nothing else scheduled after the April one. I think there's a May one TBD, and then June and July, Sage is not running the conference or the workshop, so everything else is TBD on that one. So I've been really focused on trying to get all of this set up, and with the social media posts to market the last two that have been scheduled.
All right, awesome. Yeah, thanks for your work on especially this page. I know that it's much more robust now. Is there anything, so I'm gonna ask you kind of the same thing I asked George M a minute ago. Is there any reason to keep this, additional promotion? Are there any real like action items here that makes sense for us at this point? Or is this all kind of obsolete?
I think I've made myself Trello cards for some of the stuff. So like talking to camp organizers about their sponsorship prospectus is in a card. So I mean, it doesn't have to be, I don't think that's something that has to be like priority right now. I know we had a few people from some known camps that took the training, and I guess I'm kind of more shifting to anybody can do this and can help camps. Like if organizers all have their own things they have to do for the camp, it's kind of nice to have someone outside of the camp that's had the training to do your code of conduct stuff as almost like an outside source that you can collaborate with and dealing with issues. So I've kind of redirected the marketing for that a little bit.
Right, and that's more just ad hoc, just talking to people, right?
Yeah, and just the social post. I think, was there somewhere I saw something about an email, but that looked like an email to event organizers. It wouldn't hurt to have the DA have in a newsletter, like, hey, you want to contribute? Like, I wonder if we can get just some short snippet of something, but we only have 2 left, so I don't know.
Well, do you
Something to
want to
think
reach
about.
out to the DA and ask?
Sure.
Okay. April will reach out to the DA about getting something.
That's probably a Rachel thing. Unless you're talking to someone else already.
Okay.
And the where was it? Yeah, the next thing, the add code of contact field to event content type, that's done. I don't know if the follow-up that's listed here, I don't think we want more lists of events. I think we probably want to bubble up some indicator like a check mark has code of contact in the existing listings if you want to do that follow up.
Okay, so oh, here we go. Okay, so let me do this. This is complete. So automate list. So what you're saying, Neil, so there's no issue for this, but you're suggesting maybe that's not the best.
Yeah, I don't know if an issue matching that description. And yeah, I would prefer, indicator on the existing listings rather than more listings.
All right, the follow-up issue to indicate to add an indication of if an event has a trained COC contact on the.
Now, is that something that the person making the event adds, or is that something that's locked?
Yeah, so the person making the event has the listing of speakers, the presenters, all the field's volunteers. There's a field for code of conduct contacts, and they can add anyone they want there. If they've been trained, if they have that box checked on their user profile, it'll have an additional, this person's trained bit of text.
So is this the list that you're talking about, Neil? Slash events?
Yeah, or it could be a filter next, like online, virtual, in person. I just don't want like more silos of more views, basically.
Indicator and or filter. April, do you have time to create this new issue?
Sure, but let me make sure I understand. So you're saying in that event listing at the top where it says like online, in person, you want a checkbox that says has like qualified contacts, code of conduct contacts.
Yeah, I mean, if that's, I'm just going off of what I saw in the agenda. If that's generally what we want,
I don't know, do
yeah.
we want it as a filter or just an indicator? What does
That
everybody else think?
wording might be different because right now, as a person who can post an event, it just lists who your contacts are. It doesn't matter if they've had the training.
Well, but it's a user reference, right? So we have access to whether or not they've had the training.
Okay.
Yeah, and also on the event page and any additional filtering or vetting, well, not vetting, but any additional stuff we do could show if they've been through the training or not. I'd also be perfectly happy to leave it as is. You can see the details when you click through to an event.
And I'm just trying to think about the user, like what user wants to, you know, what is the use case of using that filter? What kind of user are we talking about? Are they looking for events that only have qualified code of conduct contacts?
I think, I don't know if we need a filter. I do think an indicator on this page would really be good. Not, you know, for two reasons. One, to let folks know, but two, as a way to promote and a way to differentiate camps that have one from that don't.
Yeah, it's not just for the end users and attendees. It's for camps getting vetting.
I mean, maybe just like a little, you know, a couple words, you know, a new line after the date, basically, that, you know, says, you know, not includes or has trained code of conduct contacts or something like that. I don't know what that phrase is, but something short and
have we established who's looking for this information? Because it's useful to you to get people to go on the training. I get that. How is it useful to the people looking at the list of camps?
well, I think there's definitely a subset of folks who are, you know, are going to be, you know, pleased and looking for events and, you know, hope, you know, in the long run, I hope, you know, we want to make it the norm. I think we're a healthier community if all of our events have trained code of conduct contacts. So I think
So it
leading
helps
by
users to
example.
feel safe.
Yeah, I think it's leading by example. I don't know if I can point to 15, you know, specific people and say this person, that person's looking for it, but I do think we can normalize the behavior. Well, let's
Is
open
there
up an
any
issue
sort of-
for it, and let's, you know, we can discuss it there for further. Sorry, Donna, go ahead.
No, is there a recommended checklist of any kind of, hey, when you're setting up your camps, you need to make sure you have waters, you need to have restrooms that are accessible, you need to make sure you have, you know, frankly, nursing stations for mothers, you need to make sure you have this, you have that. Oh, by the way, you need your code of conduct people, you need your security, whatevers, you need these sign-offs from the insurances for the food vendors or whatever. Do we have checklists of recommended things for event organizers as a helpful guide?
I don't think there's anything official, but I'll look at it.
There is some official documentation guides, or not official, but community documentation guides on how to set up events. But a lot of it is like really unofficial and missing a lot of details, Donna. Like definitely needs some fine tuning.
To me, that feels like the most natural place, and that could actually be something about, that could actually be our next, you know, post nudges thing, our next endeavor is creating resources and creating a library or a resource library for camp organizers to help with this of their healthy community and keep that all progressing in a more organized way.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate on that for a second.
I feel like that might be part more for the working group rather than this team, but I could be mistaken. Like,
Oh, the events working group, you're saying.
yeah, because that's what
But this also makes me think about like amenities. Like we could have some amenities like the nursing station, the quiet space, things that camps can say, yo, we do these things that might be nice to have on the event page, you know, like you're going to an Airbnb or whatever, you know. It's like the amenities of that event, what you can expect at that event.
Yeah, but
we're starting to get into a whole bunch of things about what that event listing has, and frankly, I think that the event organizers working group are doing a very good job of working with engineering to do that. I think it would be problematic if we started to have more than one customer, for want of a better description. Like, work with the EOWG, I would suggest, and make suggestions to them that they can then follow up with, well, actually Neil and everyone. But I think if we got more than one customer, it's going to get really complicated.
Well, to that end, you know, we need to create the issue for discussion and then bring it over to the event working group folks and get their feedback. And I look at having a trained code of contact at your event, something a little more fundamental to what we want to see events doing than amenities. But that's my opinion. So I don't know if everybody feels that way, but regardless, I think we need, you know, this needs to start in an issue as a discussion, and then we can bring in all these other folks and see where we stand.
Yeah, amenities is a poor choice of words. It's more like what I was thinking about, just a list of things that they can check off that they're doing. And these are things that we encourage events to have.
Yep.
That I can.
Yeah, I like that idea of, but yeah, it's blowing the scope of this up a lot. And yeah, definitely want the events working group to weigh in on things. And yeah, that, you know, just from a technical perspective, that field could be a simple list of checkboxes, and that'd be doable to implement. And not everything's going to be surfaced onto the event listings and filters of the event listings. That would get overwhelming.
We can do a bunch of little tiny icons that when you roll over have the, okay, anyway. So, I don't want to get into I do want to get into the weeds, but I'm not going to get into the weeds. Okay, so
kind of a little bit on this, we were talking about automating the list of people who have completed the training that we also recommend. And there was some questions about, did we back off of that, or did we want to do it with a different checkbox? I mean, I would assume that if we didn't recommend someone, we wouldn't even check their box on their profile that says that they have completed the training, because if someone goes to their profile, they're going to see that and think it's sort of a recommendation.
well, you know, I think the conflict resolution team, we are not comfortable with having everyone who has that box checked on the page, listed on the page. Personally, I don't have an issue with everybody who completed the class getting the checkbox. But I don't, you know, I don't like the idea of that list being automated. And I think, you know, I think the rest of the conflict resolution team feels the same way right now. If not, they can yell at me later, and I'll definitely backpedal at that point.
It is easier to update a page than it is to find someone who has the permission to uncheck a box if we had a secondary box or something like that. So
yeah, I went into this with the assumption that it was one box for everything. But so yeah, I don't want I'm not excited about building the complexity of more checkboxes for nuances.
Yeah, I think the way it is right now is sustainable. If in the future that changes, then we'll have to readdress. But for right now, the situation as is sustainable. So I think we need to just keep moving forward the way it is.
And yeah, the action item is to close out that issue with a brief explanation.
So which one is?
Let me put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, so April, if you don't mind, just feel free to say, we discussed it during the community health team and decided not to move forward with this and close it out.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, update COC template to cover virtual events. I know, April, you and I started a conversation about this. Well, about the ban list issue. I don't think we ever finished. So
Right, that's my next thing that I'm trying to unbury from other to-dos.
okay, that's fine.
So
Nothing's
yeah,
on fire.
that's sort of the thing that's the path that I want to kind of do some exploration in those some related issues there.
Okay, then we'll just have no update on these, and when you're ready, let us know.
I do see here on a long-term task to identify other workshops related to community events. At our recent company retreat, we had someone do like a communications workshop, which I found really helpful. I wonder if he would be interested, if we would want to do something. I think it was just, I don't think he has like a page that where he sells the services kind of thing. So I don't know how it would work out, but it would be kind of a cool thing to bring in.
Yeah, I almost deleted this bit from underneath, the events support, because the other workshops that we're talking about are good for events and non-events. So maybe, maybe we get rid of this and we just talk about other workshops from the Drupal community standpoint. And if they make sense to market them to events as well, then we do that. But I don't think we need two containers of events. So I'm going to delete this one.
Okay.
And I will make a note under here, workshop suggestions. So here, I'm going to make two of them then. And then,
Oh yeah, Meg is awesome. And then this person is Gabe Wilson, I think. And he was a recommendation from her.
April. Okay, well, here, let me just do this. April has contact info for a trainer on the topic. What was it? All I can think is difficult conversations. But
He did just the communications, and he's talking about the way our nervous system works in conversation and in conflict, and it was just really a really good conversation.
Okay, so April will get back to us with more info. Okay, so that one's captured. All right, I'm gonna go back up to the top here. So April, anything else on community events? I think we're
good.
Okay, thank you very much. Where are we on time? Halfway there. Oh, great, good. Community health. Mental health first aid workshops. These are all scheduled and on the workshop page. Anything we need to do other than add some scheduled social media for these?
I don't believe so. I think that's just what's left.
Okay, so promotion. So can either Amy June or Darren, I don't think JD is here, or Donna, can one of you create some social media posts for each of those workshops, maybe 2 or 3 each, and then if you get them to me, I can schedule them. Is that cool?
Yeah, I can do that during Florida camp this week.
Okay. Mike with social media.
Unless someone else wants to do it. I don't want to step on toes.
I'm not a social media person.
What's this?
I'd say run with it if you're already in there. Go for it. Seems efficient.
All right.
I just will have plenty of time on Friday. So.
Best okay. Okay, so I think we're all set with promotion, this stuff. So I'm gonna move forward. Yell at me if I'm going too fast. Okay, so any oppression and or any bias training. I tried to ping Alana about it. I haven't yet. Let me just put a reminder to follow up with her on that one. CWG. Ping Alana about oppression training. Okay, it's on my to-do list. I don't think there is much activity here from what I remember. That's from mine. Okay, yeah. So let me talk to Alana about this and see if Alana has any suggestions. So goal is by, okay, let's change that to March. To have some options. Is that better English? All right, very good. So a community member sent me this information about this workshop. I don't know anything about it. It happened. It already happened. I'm not familiar with Meg, although I think April just mentioned that you're familiar with Meg, or Amy, one of you did. But I'm hoping that someone can. I think it's, if you go to this, I think there's a URL for, yeah, Meg Bolger. Hopefully I'm saying her last name right. megbolger.com. I think it'd be interesting just to, do a little research, see if Meg is offering this, periodically, or if she might be interested in, working with us to do this workshop for the community and something that we can help promote. Anybody interested in kind of taking that task on?
I mean, we've had, she's done workshops for Lullabot. She's really awesome. So if you want me to, what is the next step on that? Like reaching out
Just
to see if she'd be interested in doing some workshops or doing that workshop for the community?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. April will contact Meg to find out if she is interested in working with us to put on a workshop for the Drupal community. Period. Okay, good. We don't have any blog posts in progress, so that's a nice break from that. Nudges. So just because I've talked a lot and Amy June has talked a lot, I'm going to make Darren talk because I know Darren's there. So, hey, Darren, you want to give everyone an update on where we are with nudges? Because I know you're up to date.
Yeah, nudges are active. We have an issue with the sample code that is available for everyone to use, and our current status is we're working on a way to track how often they're being used. And in our last meeting, we decided that we were not going to publicize who they were being directed at or used by.
Yep. So they are, finalized in draft form, whatever adjective we want to use there. And we created a spreadsheet, a Google sheet here, for their usage. We haven't had to use them yet. So as community health team members use a nudge, please document it here. I'm not sure. We think these fields are the right fields to have. If we need to add more, then we will. And this is just for our testing. So if anyone sees an issue where a nudge might be needed, if you're comfortable posting the nudge yourself, great. If you want just to verify with other team members that a nudge is warranted, you know where to go. But let's go ahead and use this and go from there. And I know.
Yeah, I can query for those usages whenever we need them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did it. I tried it just with a Google search and a Google search on Drupal.org using the first sentence of each nudge, and nothing came up. So I'm not sure if that would be equivalent to what you would do. We can test it out and see how it works, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively equivalent. Google, they index whenever they index, but that's pretty quick since they see everything.
And I'm assuming you would just do a SQL query with a
string. Yeah, I have that somewhat ready to go.
We were going to talk about these, I believe these are all Slack add-ons that go off keywords. I know that we were going to talk about those this month, but I think we're just gonna, I'm gonna put for future discussion. And then, maybe we'll decide Slack plugins that provide nudge-like messages based on keywords. So we'll just stick those there and see if we have a need for them later. Rachel, I see in chat, suggest that should an issue be in need of a nudge, it might be time to mark it as no index so it never ends up in Google anyway. Yeah, so
why do we need to do our dirty washing in public? Simple as, really.
So I'm just gonna add, I'm gonna add that here. Rachel, introduce, I don't want to say suggest, but brought up. And then we need to let that simmer. Well, so would the whole issue have to be no index? Because we couldn't index the individual comments, right? Yeah.
It's a remedy that's been taken sparingly for some issues. I can't remember any offhand. Like, that's, as far as I know, it's something that happens like once a year. And that would be like as a result of a CWG process or something. Like if it's something worse than, if the entire issue is derailed and not valuable. But we want to keep it as a record. I mean, we might unpublish in some cases. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure we need to change the way it's currently being used. I think there might definitely be some issues that involve nudges where we might want to consider that, but I think the opposite is true as well, where there's probably going to be issues where there's nudges where we don't even think about no indexing. So that's kind of the situation we're in now. But it's a good data point just to have in the back of our minds. But let's see how using nudges goes for the the foreseeable future. Then if we need to circle back to this, then we can. Everybody okay with that?
I can't see the whole doc because I'm on a limited screen. Is there a link to the spreadsheet? Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then long-term task. I know, Darren, this is something that you brought up, and I'm gonna assume that there's nothing here to talk about, just based on bandwidth. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I haven't done anything on that.
That's fine. All right, did we cover everything? Did I miss anything in the agenda? Fantastic. Okay, well, I will send out a doodle for the March meeting here in the next week or so. Thank you very much, everybody, and everybody have a great rest of your day. And I'm going to stop the recording.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.